Welcome everyone to Finds of Yesterday. I'm Lynn, and we're talking today about vintage jewelry that was not marked. I get a lot of people that ask me why their piece is not marked or what designer it is. So let's jump into eBay and take a look at some pieces. All right, so I'm here on eBay on my Finds of Yesterday store, and we're going to take a look at some of these rhinestone brooches. People always ask me, what is the value of my rhinestone brooch? And it's unsigned, and who's the designer, and how can I price it? So we're just going to look and see what some of my brooches are selling for. And this is just a little guideline to go by. And we'll look at other stores as well. But first of all, I sorted my store here by rhinestone brooch minus the lot. And right now I have a whole bunch of sales going on from 10 to 50% off. So I'm trying to thin my store out a little bit. And I have a lot of these brooches that are in that lower price range, which meaning under $10, even under $15. But if you take a look at some of these brooches, they are pretty common brooches. They're not filled with rhinestones. There's like one big one here and some sporadic ones around it. Here's just a row of rhinestones. This one's pretty common here with the little flowers on it and the clusters. These are all pretty common brooches. This one right here is an Austria one. You'll see a lot of Austria ones with the little wires on them. This one's just mostly metal with a couple sporadic rhinestones. Very simple pieces that have sold for under $15. As we get up to the $15 range, you'll see there's more rhinestones in them. And they get a little bit prettier. I don't know why this one's in there. There is a couple rhinestones. And this one's got one rhinestone, and we're in the $19 range. This one right here and this one here are really pretty, but I guess because they're brown tone that they sold in that lower price range, but they're still fairly small pieces, 2-inch. I mean, that's not that small, but this one's 2 5/8 inch long. But they're not big, bold, unique pieces with unique rhinestones in them. They're all pretty common brooches. And now we're up to the $25 range approximately. This one right here, I thought should have sold for more. I had it listed at $40 initially. It's down to $28 and it's sold. And that one is a really pretty one, I feel, and it's got some unique design to it. This one right here I thought was pretty unique design. These are heart-shaped rhinestones and it's filled with ABs, which are really pretty. So that one sold for a little bit more at $32. Most of rhinestone brooches sell for, I would say, $20 to $40. Your average rhinestone brooches. As we get into the German rhinestone brooches, them tend to go up higher. This one right here looks like a little Nemo, or Glassworks might be another one, but I believe this one sold for $40 because it was not missing any rhinestones. This one right here, this big V, is it's pretty unique to me. It's really big. It's 3.5 inches big, so I thought it was gonna sell for a little bit more, but it ended up going fairly good at $50. And this one right here is AB rhinestones, sold for $40. That's a little surprising that it actually sold for $40. I'm not surprised that I didn't get offers on it for less. But these are almost all unmarked pieces. There was a couple Hollycraft in there. And here is the highest price ones that sold. We're talking like in the last 90 days. This one I think was absolutely gorgeous, but it's unsigned. But the stones on it were very, very sparkling, just very pretty, and a beautiful combination of blue and pink colors. This one is a Hollycraft sold for 80. Hollycraft does well. Germany does well. This one actually, I'm surprised didn't get more, but since I have best offer option on my listings, most people send me offers. So $120 I had it initially listed at, and it sold for 95. And then this one was marked Trifari, and it's a unique, kind of a little bit more rare, but it was missing some rhinestones on it, some little rhinestones, I think. So that sold for $125 because it has a name attributed to it. But for the most part, almost all of these are unsigned pieces. We have a Sarah Coventry here. Unsigned. Let's see if there's any other signed ones. Most of these are unsigned. So you can see the unsigned ones go for about $20 to $40. 20 on up. Here's a Hollycraft. And this one looks like it could be a Glassworks. And the Germany one. But other than that, almost all of these are unsigned, and you see the value of them. So is it important to even know who the maker is? Not necessarily, especially when you've got an average piece. Yeah, and to you, you think, oh my gosh, this is so gorgeous. It is so pretty. It has to be a certain maker. Well, it really isn't that important. I price mine according to how pretty it is, whether it has a maker or not. And I'm not going to throw a name on my listing if it's not signed and I'm not 100% sure that it's that brand. Like Juliana has some distinct features and you can kind of pick them out. But for the most part, it's not even worth knowing. Like Bo Jules and Judy Lee, them two are kind of distinguishing. They have a lot of features about them that you can pretty much tell it's one or the other, but you don't know which one it is for sure. At least I don't. So I'm not going to attribute one of their names to my listing. So let's jump over to biggest and best rhinestones that are selling brooches. So this one I have sorted, rhinestone brooch minus a lot, highest to lowest, and these are solds. So look at the difference here. We're talking in the thousands of dollars, and these are Trifari, Marcel Boucher, Trifari, Schreiner, Trifari, Schreiner. All of these have name brands to them. Miriam Haskell is another good one. But even this one has the collection that it was from, Jewels of Fantasy, and I'm sure they're signed. I'm sure there's some in here that are possibly unsigned, but if you can attribute it, like if you have the patent number or you have found it in a book and you can show the picture or tell the page and the book name in your description and say, I found it in this book, here's how to attribute to it, then it's okay to put the name in the title, but otherwise it's not worth it. It's not worth you getting a fine ad, which is not as described. So if you look at a lot of these pieces, they are very unique. They have beautiful stones in them. Look at the shape of this one with the color combinations. These are some really pretty pieces that we're talking go in the 2000s to, $700-800 to 2000. We're still talking Schreiner, Eisenberg, Coro, Marcel Boucher, Schreiner, Boucher, Schreiner. We can see who the big name brands are, but let me go back up here and sort it lowest to highest. Now we're down to some traditional pieces, average, mediocre. These sold on auctions. Let's see, all 8 of these right here sold on auction. So they probably could have got more, but they put them on auction and the right person wasn't there at the right time. So they missed out, but they all went for under, this one went for $38. It's a Heidi Doss. But other than that, I don't know why it's stuck in there. It's not the lowest price here. These are all new, new, new. You can see how new they are. They're sparkly. They're just they're flat looking. There's nothing special. They're pretty, sure, but they're just nothing extra special. Like there's no layers to them. They've got wide open work. They're spread apart so far. They just don't have the detail like the awesome vintage costume jewelry by, the great designers of the 50s and 60s, what they did. Here's a bunch of new ones that sold for under $1, $5. These are mostly from China, it looks like. Some from the United States. This one right here is a Weiss. I was going to say that one looks much better. When you compare these two, which one do you think looks better? Which one has more depth to it, has layering, it's filled in, has more, it's fuller. We're only up to $29. Here's one that sold. That's a Juliana style. I was going to say that doesn't look like a Juliana, but that's another thing you should not do. That is word spamming. That's against eBay rules, and you should not do that. I think that's about all I wanted to discuss, was just knowing that it's not that important to have the maker in your listing. If you have a Beau Jewels, let's look that up. Beau Jewels or Judy Lee, Beau Jewels brooch. They have kind of a distinct look to them, and the backs have a distinct look. And a lot of these people are calling these Beau Jewels, but they are hardly ever marked. This is pretty purple. I'm sure that one's gorgeous in person. This one's gorgeous. But they all still sell for around, here's one up to $107. But they're mostly in the 40s, 30s, and 40s, down to about 20s. So again, not having that maker name on there, really not that big of a deal. Just price it accordingly. If it's a really pretty brooch and has a lot of beautiful stones to it and a lot of variety to it and an interesting shape, then price it accordingly. Put it at $40 or $29.99 and see what you can get for it. You can always take best offer on it. This one's really pretty. That's got beautiful stones in it. That sold for closer to $50. This one's got some pressed purple pink leaves in it. That one sold for $38. A lot of these are just more unique, so they put a higher price on them. How does your piece compare to the other ones that are marked? Because you might have a hard time finding the exact piece, but how is your piece? Where does your piece fall in between the others? Is yours prettier than the one shown on the screen? Or is it not as substantial as the one on the screen that sold for $68? You have to make that determination when you can't find your own exact piece. So when the immigrants came to the United States with their trade of jewelry making, they all tended to settle in Providence, Rhode Island area. And Providence, Rhode Island became the jewelry capital of the world because there was so many great jewelry makers there and jewelry manufacturers of the components to do jewelry pieces. So Coral was one of the top jewelry makers at that time, and Coral used to make pieces for other companies because they were so big they could do that. So they stamped a lot of their pieces with their own name, but they also made pieces for other businesses, like Woolworths used to sell a lot of jewelry. So these companies hired out Coral and other manufacturers to make their pieces for them. So you're going to find a lot of pieces that look like Coral but are not marked Coral, and that's because they were made for another manufacturer. So that's why you're going to see a lot of unsigned pieces out there, and it's really not that important to have the maker on the back of that piece. Of course, the stamped pieces tend to sell for more, but if you don't have that piece, don't worry so much about it. How beautiful is it? Mark it accordingly. All right, I hope this helped. And if you have any questions about your rhinestone brooches, you can join us on my jewelry group on my Facebook page, which is Finds of Yesterday Jewelry Group. And put in a request to join us and post your pictures. Just keep in mind that the designer and the price is not that big of a deal. Just go by the comps on eBay, and that should help you. So again, thank you for joining me. I hope this helped. We will see you on the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe.